Well, first off, I'm here with Mississippi College. We're in Clinton, Mississippi. My name is Clark Kilgore. I'm actually not from Mississippi. I'm from Fairhope, Alabama. So if any of you are in Alabama or down on the coast, I know all about that life. So yeah, but I'm over here at MC and would love to just share more about the school with you guys.
Thank you. Can you tell anybody that maybe isn't familiar with MC just a little bit about just general information? How big's this school? What are some things they're known for? Where are you located? Things like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Mississippi College is a private Christian university, but with that, we have every single denomination represented, as well as students who aren't believers. But the majority of our students are Christ believing students. And so to me, that is what makes us so special. Uh, we have a little over 5,000 total students. So it's not going to be like high school part two, with a couple hundred students. And it's not going to be that big school experience where you kind of get lost in the numbers. But really just kind of a school where I tell people, one, you get to be known, and two, you get to know other people really well. So it's a very relational school. Everybody really gets to know each other pretty well. But with a little over 5,000 students, you can meet a new person every day if you wanted to. But you're also never going to walk across the quad and not see a smiling face waving at you who knows you by name and has probably been in a class with you. So it's a pretty cool place.
Okay. And then admissions, can you walk me through some of that? Like, what does the
Yeah,
process look like? Is there an application open date? Is there an
yeah,
application deadline? Some of those
yeah.
questions.
For sure, for sure. Well, our application is open. It opened June 1st, but don't freak out. No need to worry about that. When I applied to MC, I actually applied with 4 weeks until classes started. So it doesn't matter if you're going to apply right now or at the end of the summer. Obviously, you want to apply as soon as you know you're interested in the school. So, but our application is open. We have what's called a rolling admissions process, which a lot of schools you look at will have that. But basically, what that means is you could update your ACT score or send in a new transcript up until the day you started classes as a freshman here. So there's no huge rush to get your perfect test score in by November or December or something like that. Send us whatever test score you have now, but we can update that at any point for you.
Okay. And I know a lot of schools in the last year have made a transition to going test optional. Is
Yeah.
an ACT required still for a part of the admissions process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are test optional right now. You would talk to your admissions counselor like me or any of the other goofballs we have working here. They'd love to talk with you about that. But you could definitely come in as test optional if you want to. You could also see like what scholarship you would get for your score that you have. And if you'd rather go with the test optional scholarship, you could do that certainly.
Okay. So on academic scholarships, is there a score, ACT and GPA schedule wise, like a matrix or anything, or is it just a holistic review?
Absolutely. So if you'll go to our website, I have the link right here, but I think it's right here. Yeah. If you go to mc.edu/scholarship, you can see all of our scholarship information, but you're going to find this matrix on there, which is something we have recently just started doing. But what's really cool about it is we don't just want to test you off a standardized test score. We don't want to say, okay, you got a 23 and that's all your scholarship money you're going to get. So what we're doing is we're also going to scholarship you based off your GPA. So we have a scholarship that incorporates your GPA and your ACT or CLT or SAT scores. So the higher your GPA, the higher your scholarship academically. So that's online. You can find this matrix on there. It's pretty easy to understand, but just look for where your scores at on here, and then here's your GPA on the other column. So, and that'll help you out.
Okay, great. And then for those scholarships, another big thing that has happened in the last year, ACT has started super scoring.
Yeah.
So is MC using the composite score or a super score for scholarship consideration?
Yeah. We're super scoring. There's a lot of schools doing a lot of different things, but we're super scoring mainly because we want the student's best interest at heart. And so, if you're struggling with reading or something, you could go in there and work on that reading score and try to bring that up and not really have to worry about the scores you're confident with. And so, we're definitely super scoring because we want what's best for you guys as students, and whatever makes that ACT a little more manageable for the students. That's what we're trying to do.
I don't know. I wish it had been around when I was in high school.
I'm
Like
telling
one
you.
or two more points would have made a big difference.
That's right. That's right. It does.
Um, with MC, is the admissions application the scholarship application, or is there a separate scholarship app required?
Yeah, that's a great question. So to apply to MC, you just go to www.mc.edu/apply. You'll get a free application by going there. Super easy. It'll take you maybe 5 minutes to fill out. But that's also your scholarship application per se. Once you apply, one of our admissions team will reach out to you and tell you what we need to get from you, which is basically going to be your transcript from your guidance counselor, and then your ACT from ACT's website. So you'll send that to us, and then we will come to you with the scholarship package.
Okay. And is there a deadline for that? I know you said you applied 4 weeks prior. Did you still qualify for scholarships that late, or is there a deadline for scholarship consideration?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't encourage applying before until classes start. It's just how it worked for me. But you definitely want to apply as soon as you can for those scholarships. We have a big scholarship competition in January or early February called Select Scholarship Competition. That's anyone with a 27 or above on the ACT. You'll qualify from anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 additional dollars on your scholarship package. So that kind of information comes out late November. So it's really encouraged to go ahead and apply, this fall. Even now, if you're watching this, whether it's MC or another great university you're looking at, go ahead and put your name out there and start applying, because then you're going to get even more information on scholarship competitions and things like that. So, there's no deadline per se to get additional scholarships, but you definitely have more opportunities if you, kind of apply and have your whole application done by, mid-fall.
Okay. And you mentioned the scholarship competition, which actually led me to another question I had for you. Are there some unique scholarships at MC? I know particularly in the past, y'all have had some ministry-based scholarships. There's just been some that are very unique to MC.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a lot of different stackable scholarships that you can get as a student. Everything from alumni dependent scholarships, which are scholarships for students whose parents went to MC or maybe did their master's degree at MC. There's sibling scholarships. If you have a sibling who went here, Christian ministry scholarships. If you're someone and you're like, okay, I feel like God's calling me to go into the ministry field, we're going to give you a big scholarship just because of that. Ministry dependent scholarship is another really big one. If your dad or your mom's a pastor or a leader in your church, they could get ministry dependent scholarship. So also we have a lot of like top of your class style scholarships, or just performing, substantially better than the rest of your class scholarships, national merit finalist scholarships, Bible drill, anything like that, Eagle Scout, all those type of things. So there's really a plethora of different awards and things like that you can get for your scholarship package.
And you said those are stackable. They would go on top of an academic.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Another big way to pay for school is obviously filling out the FAFSA, which we encourage students to do in the fall of their senior year as well. Is that required for scholarships? Some schools have started requiring a FAFSA to be on file.
Yeah, it's not required here, but it is highly, highly encouraged. And just like you were saying, for any school you look at, some may requirements, some don't, but definitely fill out the FAFSA if you can. Talk to your parents about doing that. It is kind of frustrating. It takes a little bit of time, but once it's done, it's done. And send that to us, send that to any school you're looking at. But the reason we really want you to fill it out is because if we have your FAFSA on file and then you call us in the spring and you're like, look, Clark, man, my heart's set on MC. First, I'm going to be like, let's go. That's awesome. But then we're going to be like, what do we need to do to get you here? And the first thing we do, and same with any other schools, they pull up your file. And if that FAFSA is on there, we can then sometimes find you additional scholarship money and endowment funds and things like that that we can't give you if we don't have a FAFSA on file. So that's super important to have.
Okay. Is for the people that do want to complete the FAFSA, is there a priority date for maximum federal aid consideration?
Great question. Pretty much before like November time, because that's when we would start rolling out additional loans and that kind of thing would open up. But really the springtime is when we kind of can open up endowments and appeal money, which is basically, that is just scholarship from alumni that have donated to the school for students who need it. So, but really just try to fill that sucker out, before November, into November. I think it opens sometime in October. You probably know.
October 1.
October 1.
It's like a holiday around here at Get to College.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah, it gets wild when that opens up. But yeah, so fill that thing out. And once we have it, then we'll be rocking and rolling.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a last, going back for scholarships and ACTs, is there a last date that you take for ACT consideration for the testing?
Yeah, there's not. So you could give a new one at any point. But you do want to get accepted for us. You do have to have a transcript and that ACT score. So, if you want to get accepted, we have to have a test score unless you want to come in as test optional. But as far as a deadline to get one in, there's not one whatsoever.
So they could theoretically, a student could test in June
Hmm.
after they've graduated
Yeah,
high
yeah,
school, get that scoring, it's a little bit higher, submit
yeah.
it to your admissions office and potentially get a higher scholarship.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So it's a really cool thing too, because we don't want you to be stressed out as a student, having to worry about I have to get my perfect score by December or by January. So definitely, gives you the opportunity to take it as many times as you want to. Obviously, you don't want to take the ACT every weekend. We get that, but as much as you need to, we want to be able to make that an option for you.
Okay. Okay. And with super scoring, they
Yeah,
hopefully would only have to take
that's
it a few
right.
times
That's
and
right.
focus on a
Yeah.
different section every time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Another big thing that we always hear with students is they're very concerned about their housing. So when does housing open? Is it first come, first serve? Is
Yeah.
there a housing application deadline? All the things housing we need to know.
Yeah, I don't know the precise date for our housing to open. It hasn't been announced yet, but typically it'll open around mid-December or so. And they'll send you an email about that as well. As if you apply, you'll get all those emails coming in about housing. But you'll apply for housing. What's really cool about housing here at MC, like for me, like I grew up in Fairhope, Alabama, like I said, and so I didn't know anyone at the time coming to MC. And so I didn't, know who I was going to room with. And so you fill out that housing portfolio, and it's really like funny. It's kind of like an online dating account or something. Like it asks you like, what time do you like to go to sleep? Do you like a clean room or a messy room? Or do you like to, sleep with the TV on? All these questions about yourself. And then it's going to match you with all the other freshmen in our system, and pair you with like your top 10 matches. And then like you look through them and you can get their Instagram names and all that kind of stuff and see like, okay, what's this person really like? Will we really like jive well? And then you can choose them as your roommate. So it opens around mid-December time. But you have plenty of time. Even students who are here right now who are trying to find housing, there's still options available. You just won't have as many options available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving into a little bit more of the academics,
Yeah.
what are some of the unique programs that if we're trying to talk to a student regarding MC, or if they're like really looking at unique majors, what are things that we could talk to them about academically?
Absolutely, absolutely. MC is really known right now for like their nursing school and their sciences, biomedical science programs. Um, they're phenomenal. The professors, what's really cool about these programs, and same for anything you end up studying here, but I think what really is setting our sciences apart is, as y'all know, especially the guidance counselors listening to this, your students going off to study science at a school are going to be in some very hard classes. And a lot of professors nationwide are trying to weed students out of those classes, and they aren't necessarily there to help the student grow in that field. And so what's so special about our science programs and any program we have here is our professors have open office policies. They want the students in their office talking to them about, hey, I had a difficult test today, or hey, the material just flew over my head today, or whatever. And they'll sit down with them one-on-one and buy them a cup of coffee or take them into Chick-fil-A on campus and help them out and help them, okay, this is what you need to study, this is what you need to prepare for. And so we have a lot of professors who just love this school and they look at this as their ministry. And so we also have a 16-to-1 student to faculty ratio in the classroom. So what that means for your students is if they're here at MC, no matter if they're studying psychology or biology or ministry or anything like that, they're going to have about 16 to 20 people in the classroom. And the reason for that is we actually, divide those groups into those smaller populations because we know scientifically you learn way more and you retain way more when you're in a classroom environment like that. And so our professors here just really want to love on your students. They want to care for them. They want to pour into them, but they also want to see them grow academically. And so there's so many tools they use for that. We have free tutoring for every single course they'll ever take while they're at MC. So whether it's like the wet cadaver lab class or whether it's public speaking, you're going to have a period where you can go and sit down and have tutoring for that class. So you know exactly what you need to know for that. So there's a writing center as well. As some of you professors know and some of your guidance counselors know, in college you have a lot of different writing styles you have to use and it can be confusing and hard. And so Your students write their paper, bring it over to the writing center and sit down with someone and say, hey, I don't know how to put this in APA 7th or MLA 9th, or I don't even know 12. And you're like, what do I do with this? They will sit down with you and help your student learn how to do that. So it's all just based on, we want to love on our students the best we possibly can and see them grow the best they can. So yeah.
Okay. And y'all also have a really, or you did at one point, have a unique program, something with cybersecurity.
Yeah. So we do have a cybersecurity program. Let me pull it up right here. Let me see if I can get it out right here. So I should have had this ready to go. 1 second. I'll pull it up right here.
I've just heard a lot of students interested in working in that field, and they mentioned MC.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I can find it on here. 1 second. Okay, maybe it's not on the sheet. But yeah, so our cybersecurity program, let's see, where is it on here? Let's see. I don't see it on here, but we definitely have a program for that. And we also have like a more specific like Homeland Security program that kind of parallels that and goes with that. It's located on campus. What's really cool about that program is you're going to get a lot of internship opportunities to see, okay, what do you actually do in that program? What would that look like on a day-to-day? And so you'll get to shadow someone who is very involved in those type of organizations and companies here in Jackson. Being in Clinton, we're about 20 minutes from the capital of Mississippi. And so you actually get to go to downtown Jackson your junior and senior year and have internships in those type of fields. And that's the same for like if you study communications or if you studied counseling or anything like that. We want you to have hands-on shadowing experience, because it would, just like in Homeland Security, like they want you to know by the time you graduate, like, hey, I love this is what I want to do with my life, instead of you studying it for 4 years and never actually working it a day in your life. So yeah.
Internships are big, I think, at MC. I've heard a lot of students have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots of internships, lots of job shadowing. So it's a really cool opportunity.
Okay. And then another thing I wanted to ask you, we all know it's been a really difficult past year with
Yeah.
school like normal being interrupted, life like normal being interrupted. What are some things that MC has that can help students transition to college campus? You mentioned a few already. You mentioned the writing center, you mentioned the tutoring center, but are there counseling services? Is there a physical health center on campus? Like, what are things that help with the adjustment to college that's not in the classroom?
Yes, absolutely. We have a professional counseling department on campus that does not cost our students a dime to attend. They are phenomenal. They're literally a 2-minute walk away from your dorm. And so we highly encourage our students to go see them while they're here, because professional counseling is such a gift from God. And it really is an awesome opportunity for anyone to take in their life. But it's the only time in your life that it's going to be free is while you're here at MC. And so you definitely want to get to be a part of that, you know. And so whether you're struggling with something in your home life, in your heart, or in your head, you know, we want you over there at the counseling center to have a professional sit down with you and hear you out and give you wise counsel and love on you. And so that's a really cool opportunity you have. What another thing, kind of like we talked about earlier, like what's so different to MC for me is just how relational our students are. I mean, you're not going to walk across our quad and see everybody with their hoodie on and headphones and then head down, trudging off to class. They're going to be looking at each other and smiling at each other and hanging out and talking. And to me, like that just shows like the type of campus we want for you. And so if you're having a hard time here at school, which school is difficult, you know, no matter where you go, we're going to have a counseling department there who's ready to take you in and talk through anything you're facing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last few questions I wanted to talk through. One, just anything else that you think a high school student or a high school counselor might need to know about MC. And then the last one, is there anything new, like any exciting developments on campus, any new buildings, new programs, just anything exciting happening?
Yes, I love it. Well, yeah, I mean, if I could tell any counselors or any students anything, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'd love to say. I'm a talker if you can't tell, but, you know, definitely come visit, come check it out. If you've never been to MC, if you love the idea of MC, if your parents love the idea and you're like, oh, I don't want to go there, you know, come check it out and see what it has in store. I toured so many schools, all over the place, mainly in Alabama, because this school is 4 hours away from me. And I actually checked MC out with 4 weeks left until classes started, and I fell in love with it. And it was just because how genuine everyone is here. And it was so different than any other college experience I'd seen. And so really would encourage you, whether it's MC or another school or whatever it may be, come check it out. Come on a tour. If you want to come on a tour to MC, just go to www.mc.edu/visit, and we'll give you a special tour. You can meet with faculty, staff. You can come hang out with me. It'd be a good time. We'll take you to get some Chick-fil-A or whatever you want to do. So come check MC out. As far as like developments and stuff like that, I literally could show y'all out my window right now. That's our quad that way, but there's a massive like excavator out there tearing down part of our cafeteria. And so they're renovating the cafeteria today, which is something they pretty much do every summer as they do more and more improvements on the cafeteria, in the classrooms, in the dorms and stuff. So while the students are gone in a way, but we just put in a new student union. It's amazing. It's a 2-floor common space. It is so nice. It was not here while I was a student, so I was a little bummed about that. But it's a really great space on campus because it's 2 stories. The bottom floor has a Chick-fil-A and an Einstein Bagel in there. You get a $250 gift card to those every single semester as a student. As you can imagine, they're going buck wild with those. But so you go down in there and hang out. It's open till like 1 a.m. So students will be in there, playing card games, or there's a big study nook up there, like studying for their big biology test in the morning, or they're watching Netflix together, or they're just eating dinner and hanging out. So it's a really nice, like state-of-the-art area on campus. It's one of the nicest student areas, in the nation right now, because it was built literally last summer. So come hang out, come on a tour, check it out. It's a good time. But yeah, would love to have you on campus at any point to come see us.